This is Otis Chandler, and I just saw Transporter 3.
What'd you think of it?
What I thought of it, it was horrible. It was like Transporter 2 was actually, it was bad. It was bad story-wise, but at least the action was good. But even the choreography in this film was just horrible. It was all fast cuts. It was like, I think they were trying to duplicate Bourne Identity or Bourne Supremacy, but it wasn't even nowhere near that good. And basically, it was an excuse for Jason Statham to strip. Through half the movie, he strips. In fact, they made a strip scene just for him to strip. So basically, it was about showing. Yeah, not once but twice he had a strip scene. Or actually 3 times he had a strip scene, because he wakes up on a bed naked, practically, and then he has to go put on a suit, and then he takes off for some reason he decides to take off his suit in a his mechanic friend's lair. He decides to take off his suit, goes to the trunk, doesn't put the suit on that he took off, but he goes to the trunk and takes out a brand new suit to put that one on. But he has this whole thing about supposedly being so clean, but yet he keeps throwing his stuff on the floor, on the ground. In fact, he throws his jacket off just in the dirt at one point. But yet he's supposed to be so pristine and clean this entire thing, because everything is hung nice and covered in plastic, but yet he just throws his jacket on the ground. Then they force us from the past 2 movies to assume that his character Frank Martin is probably homosexual, which isn't bad. Like, he's the first homosexual action hero. They force us to kind of believe this. Then in this 3rd film, they bring in this girl who's probably the least attractive girl of all his leading women, and suddenly he decides he's going to have sex with her, and now he's transformed back to heterosexual. They even make a comment to that, because his friend, who really implied that he was homosexual in the 2nd film, now tells him at the end of the film that they're fishing, and he tells him, well, a lot of things have changed about you, Frank. And Frank comments, no, same house, same car. All of a sudden, the girl pops up behind him, and of course, you're to probably assume that that means that he's talking about his sexuality. And it's like, what? It was just really bad. First of all, the plot device was these guys on a tanker were bringing in some type of toxic waste, like almost like Toxic Avenger waste, because these guys accidentally are trying to go find some food in the storage. No, they're trying to find alcohol in the storage container. They go to the storage container, accidentally open the lid of it, and it kills them instantly. But wait a minute. When asked what is this substance that they're bringing in, Frank's friend, the inspector, says, oh, it's just garbage. I don't know about you, but I've never been around garbage that actually kills you within 3 seconds and makes your face boil. So I don't know, like it had no plot device, but supposedly the Prime Minister of Ukraine was supposed to sign this thing to get his daughter back, but they never explained to us what was so important about the garbage that they're bringing and why they needed 8 freighters to bring in this garbage. How much garbage were they bringing in? What was going to happen? Were they all of a sudden going to like flood Ukraine? The Ukrainian streets were just going to be flooded with trash and shit? Like that's what was going to happen? They're going to have trash everywhere on the streets, like in a month or something? That I think that was the villain's device in this film was, because the Ukraine is such a beautiful country, they decided that they were going to put trash in that country within a month. That was Transporter 3's villain's plot device. That's the grand scheme of Transporter 3's villains, was to bring trash. Oh, wait a second. One more thing. He had a better car than James Bond has ever had. His car, in one scene, they're driving through the countryside. I think they're going to Budapest, and all of a sudden Frank decides, I can't get between 2 semis that are coming at me, so what I'm going to do to get between the 2 semis is I'm going to make the car go on its side. First of all, they never explained how he actually tilted the car on the side. but he does some maneuver with the steering wheel. Car's on its side. Now the car is on the side, and what ends up happening when the car is on the side is it's not on the side and it's on the tires. The car is actually on its side walls. The car is driving straight on its side walls, and he manages to straighten the car back out, and they drive away. And for some reason, what are those things called? I think they're called garment bags. For some reason, garment bags can be used as flotation devices if your car goes into the water. You can use a garment bag and hook it up to your where you put your air and your tire in, and it can become a flotation device. He did that as well. So yes, Frank Martin is actually better than James Bond now, without his cue.
And wasn't the car like completely flooded and just drove?
The car was flooded. They started it. They restarted the car. It was flooded. For some reason, he kept breaking out windows in the car, but yet the windows would be back. He jumps straight. Oh, first of all, he does a BMX freestyle bike ride to catch up with his car, kicks out the front windshield, and he drives away, and the front windshield is right there still. So there's so many inconsistencies. He's supposed to be within 75 feet of his car, or he'll blow up because he's got this bracelet attached to him. But I'm sorry. Audi that they've already showed to us has a 220 mile per hour tachometer is not going to be caught by a BMX bike, but for some reason he's able to keep within 75 feet of an Audi on a bike without him blowing up. But our leading lady goes into a gas station, which I don't know about you, but the last time I went into a gas station, it's maybe, I don't know, 30 feet from the gas pump to the attendant. She goes in there, her light starts going off, so she has to pee on the floor because she can't make it another 5 feet to the bathroom to take a piss. Yes, there's complete inconsistencies in Transporter 3. It was a horrible. It nuked the fridge terribly. It totally nuked the fridge.
What about the train?
Oh yeah, and he decides that he's gonna land his Audi on top of a train, but instead of jumping off the overpass onto the train when the train is going underneath the overpass, he decides to let it clear the overpass and then launch his Audi onto the top of the train
with no lead.
With no lead whatsoever. He just launches it on there, and supposedly it doesn't slide off the side. He keeps it perfectly steady. So they're also implying that his tires are better than James Bond's tires in any of his cars. So yeah, once again, Frank's Audi is that's but you know what? There might be one saving grace in the entire film. They may be able to explain why Frank's car is so badass, because Frank did tell them at the beginning, I'll do the job, but I have to have my car. So there's something special about Frank's car.
Did he drive it into a train?
Yeah, oh yeah, he drove his car into a moving train, like directly into a moving train. The train didn't derail. But hold on, there's an explosive device, the wristband that he had at the beginning of the movie. It kills his friend. It blows up an ambulance and at least like almost half a block. It sends him spiraling over 20 yards. Well, he drives the car into the train. He ends up getting the villain. He puts a wristband on the villain, drives the car back out. The villain is able to let himself out of the car, but he's stuck still on the train. Villain's at the end of the train, and then the car length, what is the average car length of a train? Maybe like 30, 40 feet. It explodes, but Frank doesn't get killed because this particular wristband that he had on was just not as powerful as his friend. It didn't pack that much of a punch. There's tons of inconsistencies in that film. It was bad. Like I recommend, you can't even rent that. You can't rent Transporter 3. You probably should stop at Transporter 2 and leave it at that. It was a horrible film.
So I take it you won't be seeing Transporter 4.
I will never see Transporter. What it's done is it's lowered. It's lowered. I think he's gonna have to do another Guy Ritchie film because he's lost it.